Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and Open Mic is the daily show we do here in the afternoons, Monday through Friday. That's a lot more informal. All it is just taking your thoughts, your comments, your questions. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's Open Mic. We're just going to talk about whatever we're going to talk about. And of course, last night was the Oscars. I'm sure if you guys are going to have some things to say about the Oscars. Hey, speaking of the Oscars, as a matter of fact, just about 20 minutes ago, I put a new video up on my YouTube channel called 5 Ways to Improve the Oscars. A couple of the ways I'm pretty sure you've heard me say before. A couple of them are probably things you haven't heard me say before. But when you get a chance after this video, of course, go and check out that and let me know what you think about my 5 suggestions for improving the Oscars. But I'm sure you guys got some suggestions as well. You guys probably have some thoughts about some of the winners, some of the losers. Did you consider anything snubs? Let me know in the chat. So we're going to get things kicked off here with the chat. And of course, by the way, guys, if I don't get to any of the questions that you guys send in, I think we're going to be able to get through all of them today. But if we don't worry. I always do a supplemental video to catch up on the questions that didn't get asked on the show. So don't worry, your question, if you send one in, will get answered. All right, with that out of the way, let's get started things. And we're going to start off today with, where are we? We are at Sam Fisher. And Sam Fisher writes, if an actor or director like Kenneth Branagh won the Oscar for directing, does that still make them an actor without an Oscar? Good question. This is a topic that came up as a result of the Oscars last night, because when we had the award, when Gary Oldman won his Academy Award, we mentioned, hey, Gary Oldman is pretty much universally accepted as the best actor out there who doesn't have an Academy Award yet. That's not the case anymore. He's got his Oscar now. So we started this discussion about who do you think is the greatest actor out there now without an Oscar on their mantle? There's some great some great suggestions were made. We had, I think Joaquin Phoenix was one of them, Ian McKellen, Jake Gyllenhaal, a bunch of good contenders. But I actually had somebody, it's funny you should write this in, Sam, because I had somebody tweet me today saying, well, Brad Pitt doesn't count. Because I think I might have mentioned Brad Pitt on the show and said, Brad Pitt doesn't count. He won an Oscar for 12 Years a Slave. And yes, Brad Pitt technically did win an Oscar because he was the producer of 12 Years a Slave. And so he got the award for it winning Best Picture and all. But that's not an acting award. When I refer to like the best actor without an Oscar yet, obviously what we're referring to is getting an Oscar for their acting. Like if somebody just happened to be an editor 10 years ago and now they're an actor, if they got an editing award, that doesn't count as an actor with an award. I mean, that's his award for editing. So I would say that no, Kenneth Branagh does not count as having an Oscar yet. Not for his acting. As a filmmaker or whatever, maybe he does. I can't remember if he does or not. But as an actor, I don't believe he does. So if he had one for editing or directing or producing, whatever, personally, I don't count that towards the acting thing because that's a totally different thing, in my opinion, at least at any rate. All right, next one up comes to us from Logan James Kynaston, who writes, has or will LeBron surpass Jordan as the greatest of all time? Me and a mate always have this discussion, and we'd love to hear your thoughts / opinion. Thanks, John. Well, first of all, it is really funny how a number of years ago, there used to be this debate about Kobe or LeBron, right? Who's the best of our era, Kobe or LeBron? And pretty soon people started realizing you can't even compare Kobe to LeBron anymore. Like you can't compare Kobe to LeBron. LeBron is a big step ahead of Kobe. So what you started to hear then is the conversation changed from LeBron and Kobe to LeBron and the big man, Michael Jordan. That's who everybody talks about now. Now it's all comparing LeBron to Jordan. Look, I'm a big LeBron James fan. I am. But has he surpassed Jordan as of right now as the greatest of all time? I don't think so. Could he? It's still possible. He's got an incredible trajectory of his career, and he's still, playing at an MVP level. He's not just playing at a good level. He's playing at an MVP level. He may very well take his team for the 8th time in a row to the NBA Finals. I mean, it's unheard of. It's just unheard of in the modern era. It just doesn't happen. So could he? Maybe. But for me, even though I'm a big LeBron fan, to me, Jordan's still the GOAT. I think Jordan is still the GOAT right now. Let's see. Lawrence Bayley writes, Hey, John, I'm a big fan going to the AMC Talk Days. So thank you so very much, Lawrence. I was wondering if you heard or seen the teaser for Black Dynamite 2. Thanks, and you are the man. Yeah, I did. And I just about peed myself a little bit because I freaking love Black Dynamite. I love Black Dynamite so much. Dynamite, Dynamite. I love Black Dynamite. I remember I was there at the premiere for it. And I was sitting like, you know who really loved Black Dynamite? Craig Robinson. Remember him from The Office? We were sitting like 2 chairs over from Craig Robinson. That guy was like, you want to hear a belly laugh? He was loving Black Dynamite. Anyway, Michael Jai White was so good in that. And I was so excited when I heard that he's trying to get another one made. Can it recapture the magic, the comedic magic of that first one? I don't know if they can. Maybe they can. Maybe they can't. But I'm super excited that they're taking a shot because, man, I love me that movie. I love me that movie so much. Guys, if you have not seen Black Dynamite, oh my God, check out Black Dynamite. By all means, check out Black Dynamite. You are going to be happy that you did. Believe me, it's so much fun. Get a buddy or two, sit down and watch it. Have a beer, bag of chips, whatever. Sit back and enjoy a good time. And I really hope the second one, I hope it's not teased. I hope it really does come out. All right. Caleb writes, hey, John, as a fan of fighting, what is your favorite movie in this genre? I have to pick Warrior with Tom Hardy / Joel Edgerton. Tears every time. Love Warrior. Love that movie. I remember I was at CinemaCon in Vegas when they did a sneak preview of that film. And the responses and reactions it got, it's a wonderful film. Captured the whole sport of MMA pretty well. Not totally accurately, but as accurate as I've seen it portrayed in films today. But I won't call that my favorite. My favorite is still, and you guys who've been watching me for any period of time, you know what I'm going to say. Best of the best. Best of the best. You know, best of the best, man. When he comes over and Daehan, the Korean fighter, broken with the patch over his eye and blood, and limps over at the medal ceremony. He's got his gold medal. And he takes his medal off his head and he says to Tommy, I deeply regret the loss of your brother. And I offer myself as your new brother. And he puts the gold medal on Tommy. Yeah, that's a man movie right there. Damn right, Daehan. That movie, I'm telling you, man, was so great. That moment, like, you want to feel man tears. You want to see a movie that makes you go grrr. That moment at the end of Best and the Best, Daehan Dragon, I offer myself as your new brother. It's like, yeah. Like, you just want to clench your fist and grrr, like growl like a bear or something. It's so good. James Earl Jones is in the film. Eric Roberts is in the film. Sean Penn's brother, Chris Penn, was in. It's such a good movie. It's so cheesy and corny and weird all at the same time. But Best of the Best, man. If you haven't watched Best of the Best, watch Best of the sequel was okay. They did a sequel to it, and the sequel was all right. But that first Best of the Best movie is just, I get so excited just when I think about it, man. One of the greatest moments in guy movies ever. The Daehan medal ceremony. That thing was just amazing. Anyway, okay. Adam Griffin. Oops, I lost, where'd Adam go? Here we go. Adam Griffin writes, I hope the people whose careers you literally saved from falling apart at AfterBuzz understand the importance of the true narrative. I also hope privately you're able to have conversations you deserve. Well, it wasn't AfterBuzz, it was AMC, but I'm sure the people at AfterBuzz will thank you for the plug on that. But anyway, it's something I don't want to talk about. It's fine. If anybody wants to know how I feel about it, you can go to my Facebook page. I've posted about it on my Facebook page. I'm not really down for talking about it on my YouTube channel, but I appreciate the sentiment. Thank you so much for that, Adam. I appreciate that. Beeper 5 writes, over or under 50% that Ezra dies in the Rebels finale. Well, I've already seen the Rebels finale. I watched it the other night, so I cannot answer that question. So I'll say this. It's good. The finale's good. I've got some thoughts about it, but I can't share them until after it airs. So check it out, see what you think, and I'll do a review episode of it, either like tomorrow or later tonight or something like that. Ben Rayner writes, "Hey John, I hope you know your fans have good memories about the history of Collider. That's all I'm going to say. Really appreciate your honesty, integrity, your fans." Well, I appreciate that, Ben. Thank you so much. I'm sure you appreciate that. I don't really want to discuss it, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. Lucas DC writes, "What are your favorite Game of Thrones moments?" Mine is Tyrion's speech at his trial. Oh, that was a good scene. That was a really good scene. Also, do you have any guesses as how the story will conclude? Well, I think, we all have guesses, but I mean, what are our guesses worth at this point? We'll find out in about a year what's going to happen. Favorite scenes. Man, there's a lot of them. I mean, the fight between the Mountain and the Viper is an incredible scene. The scene just in this season when, I'm forgetting the family name. The old lady, like Jamie is sitting there with her and she poisons herself. Like she gets the last laugh. There was a couple in the first couple of seasons as well. Man, I would have to sit down and make a list of my favorite moments from Game of Thrones. And I'm not the world's biggest Game of Thrones fan, but I've really gotten on board with it the last couple of seasons especially. I thought this last season, there's some hardcore Game of Thrones fans that didn't like this last season. I don't know what they're smoking. I mean, it's all subjective for sure, but I thought it was the best season to date. I love this last season, but we'll see where it goes from there. As far as how it's going to conclude, no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. I gave up trying to predict what's going to happen just in the next episode of Game of Thrones, let alone the next season. And that's a credit to the filmmakers. And one of the reasons I'm excited that these guys are going to be making some Star Wars films. So I'm excited about that. All right, thanks for the question, Lucas. Lycon Zero writes, "I've only watched the beginning part of that town hall meeting, so I guess I missed that part. Sorry to hear about this. Sort of untrue of being spread." I appreciate that. Again, guys, I don't want to really talk about it per se. We're here to talk about movies and the things that we love and all that kind of stuff, so let's keep the focus on that. But I appreciate the support. I do. Dakota Barber writes, "Watching Darkest Hour, love it so far." Oh, good. I loved that film. Like, I went in expecting it to be good. I was expecting it to be good. Gary Oldman's in the lead. I heard rave things about his performance, blah, blah, blah. I was not expecting how much I would love that movie, Darkest Hour. And what really surprised me was the Lily James character, because at first I'm thinking, as much as I love Lily James, as much as I love Lily James, at first I was thinking, like, this is kind of a waste of a character. She doesn't need to be there. But then, about halfway through the film, it dawned on me. Lily James actually functions, her character functions as the avatar for the audience itself. We're actually looking at the story through her eyes in many ways. And once that clicked into me, then it's like, oh my God, this is brilliant. And I just started loving it. Like, I was already loving up to that point. But once I understood that whole thing about the Lily James character is the living avatar for the audience to vicariously see the story through. And to me, that was brilliant. And I love that movie. So I'm excited you have a chance to watch it right now. All right, let's move on. Chris Parker writes, "Tone on its own isn't the problem, but has the DCEU handicapped itself by trying to ground godlike heroes in gritty realism?" Well, it's a fair statement. It's a fair thing to ask. Because you guys all know, I believe there has never been anything wrong with the tone of the DCEU. I think the tone for the DCEU has worked fine. When they lighten the tone up, I think that's worked fine too. The problem wasn't the tone. All right? I still think, I think people are still looking for problems in the wrong places. Whether you make things gritty, grounded, more fantasy, more wild, more serious, more light, all these things are just dressing. It's just the container. The problems with the DCEU extend beyond those just superficial things and go more into the core of the stories themselves. Now, I am somebody, you guys well know, that I've liked the movies. I've enjoyed them. However, just because I enjoy them doesn't mean I stick my head in the sand and pretend like everything's fine. I recognize there are issues with the films, and I recognize a lot of other people have more issues with the films than I do. But I believe, ever since, Man of Steel, people have been looking for the surface issues of the problem. Oh, it's the tone. It was too serious. Blah, blah, blah. No, that's not the problem. Because Dark Knight was way more serious. Nobody seemed to have a problem with that. So it's not tone. It's not about whether it's gritty or light. It's not about whether it's more real or more fantasy. These are just the surface containers. It's once you get into it, and it's the way they develop their characters. It's the stories that they're telling, the narrative path in which they take, and sometimes quite clunky, especially Suicide Squad. I had fun with Suicide Squad. I did. I liked it. I gave it a positive review, but it is, I think I said in my review, it's a bloody mess. The movie's a mess. It really is. But I think that's where the problems lie. It's more at the core issue of the stories they're telling. Now, if you tell a good story, it doesn't matter if you make it gritty, grounded, fantasy, serious, light, funny, whatever. It can all work within that. But if you don't have those core things right, it doesn't matter which superficial shell you put around it, it's not going to work. And I believe a lot of people have just been looking to the superficial shell stuff and trying to make scapegoats out of the superficial shells. It's too dark. Nothing wrong with it being dark. Dark is fine. Dark wasn't the problem. Oh, that one was too funny. No, funny is fine. Funny can work. Funny can be great. But being dark or being funny doesn't solve a story problem. And I think therein lies the issue. And the overall direction, because honestly, like the reason I hit that panic button, it just feels sometimes like the DCEU is directionless. It just feels like it's directionless. And the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. And they just seem to be bobbling all over the place. That is part of the reason why I believe you just need to stop what you're doing and reboot this thing. Start with a clean slate. Get rid of all the baggage and just start with a clean slate with a focused direction and then go that way. But hey, that's just me. What do I know? Let's see. Good email, Chris. Chris Warden then writes, what kind of reverse vampire blood is Tom Cruise drinking? The guy turns 56 this year, but can still pull off a guy in his late 30s. I mean, what the fuck, man? Yeah, here's the one thing I'll say. I saw Tom Cruise recently, and one of the comments I said to Ann is, oh my God, the guy finally doesn't look like he's in his 30s. He finally doesn't look like he's in his 30s. So if you look at his face now, he's finally starting to age. And that's not a bad thing. Dude looks great, but finally, he doesn't look like he's in 36 anymore. He finally looks like maybe he's in his mid-40s. That's what he's finally starting to show a little bit. And I think that's great. I think that gives more character to him. I think that opens up a whole new world of different roles he can do and what he wants to do. That's wonderful. But you're right, man. For the longest time, this dude has just been like, this guy just doesn't age. Him and Keanu Reeves. Look at pictures of Keanu Reeves from 20 years ago and look at pictures of him now. Tell me he did not make a pact with Lucifer, the Dark Lord Satan himself. Tell me that Keanu Reeves did not make some kind of blood pact with the Crossroads demon. Clearly he did, because that guy hasn't aged in 20 years. It's nuts. And with the Tom Cruise things, I think in the past year and a half or so, finally Cruise doesn't look like he's in his 30s anymore. He still looks awesome, but finally not in his 30s. I think that's crazy. But Keanu Reeves, man, that dude is sporting serious deals with the devil. Dante Redgrave writes, hey, John, I was debating with a friend yesterday on who's better. In my opinion, Arnold is a better action star. Stallone, better overall actor. Your thoughts? Ooh, interesting. That is interesting. You know what? I hadn't thought, I bristled at that when I first read it just now. But now that I think about it, I think I agree with you. I think I like that assessment. I think just as a pure action star, I think Arnold is, I probably would take Arnold over Sly. Over who's the better actor, that's clear. Sylvester Stallone is actually a good actor. Schwarzenegger is great if you put him in the right kind of role, but Stallone can play just about anything. Watch Copland, by the way. But yeah, I think I'll go along with you on that. Schwarzenegger, the better pure action star. Overall, Stallone, the better performer overall. I mean, they're both good action stars. In the right roles, they're both good performers, but I think I like the way that you phrase that out. I'm with you on that. Let's see. Donnie Yasu writes, hey, John, when the Russos eventually step out of the MCU, do you think Marvel should continue with 2 directors per Avengers movie? No. Remember, the Russo brothers have always been a team. it's not like they went out and got, what you do not want to do is go out and hire one director, then go out and hire another one and just make them work together. These guys have been teams working together for years. We've seen that happen with other brother combinations too, and other combinations of directors, that these guys who have worked as a team for years. What you can't do is just go out and hire two random directors and say, now you guys are co-directors. That will destroy a movie. That will totally destroy a movie. You got to have two guys who have spent years and years and years, maybe since birth, that they're brothers, being completely on the same page and know exactly the direction mutually they want to go. Any other way is just nonsense. So no, look, it's like saying, hey, Guillermo del Toro won Best Director. Should every movie be directed by one director? I mean, that's the same thing as saying, hey, the Russo brothers have done a couple of good Avengers movies. Should Marvel look at me? No. Look, generally speaking, you should have one director. There are exceptions. There are a couple of team guys that do it well, the Russo brothers being one of them. Obviously, the Coen brothers are another one of them. We've seen other brother combinations as well, but you gotta, it's the exception. It's the exception. It's not the rule. Let's see. Good observation though, Donnie. Victor Gonzalez writes, you are the best. Keep doing what you are doing. Great inspiration. Love watching you. Thank you, Victor. I appreciate that. That's awfully nice of you to say. And I appreciate that you even took the time just to write that in. So thank you so much, man. Thank you. Van Sensei writes, oops, as I lost my place. There we go. Van Sensei writes, could Macaulay could Macaulay Culkin come back like Winona Ryder? Hey, you know what? It's possible. I mean, look, from what I understand, look, I don't follow the gossips and celebrity lives and stuff like that, but I think I remember hearing Anne talking about recently that Macaulay Culkin made some public appearances lately, and he's kicked whatever addictions he's had. She said he's looking really healthy. He looks great. I remember he popped up on the Jim Gaffigan show, which I thought were some hilarious cameos that he did. But you know what? People love a comeback story. People love a good comeback story. And I don't know if Macaulay Culkin has any talent or not. I just don't know. I'm not saying he does. I'm not saying he doesn't. I just don't know. But if Macaulay Culkin's got the talent, then I think it'd be really cool to see a dude turn his life around and make a comeback. I think that would be great. I'm all for it. So, I mean, I don't know anything about the guy's personal life, but hey, the audience loves a comeback story and so does Hollywood. So it's possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's possible. I'd be down for it. Let's see. Hector Riaz writes, how high are your expectations for Infinity War? Can't wait for it and have a feeling it's going to be amazing. I'm very excited for it, but I will say, because I have all the faith in the world in Kevin Feige, I have all the faith in the world in the Russo brothers, yes, but I am a little bit nervous about the sheer number of headline characters that are in this movie. Now I should have popped this open earlier, but let me pop this open. Okay, so here's the list, all right? Cast and crew, here we go. We have Letitia Wright playing Shuri, Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, Danny as Okoye, Winston as M'Baku. I'm so excited that M'Baku's in that, man. Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie, Karen Gillan as as Nebula, Angela Bassett is back as the King's mother, Sebastian Stan as Bucky, Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. We've got Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Josh Brolin as Thanos, Chris Evans as Captain America. We got Star-Lord, we got Scarlet Witch, we got Loki, we got Spider-Man, we got Mantis, we got Iron Man, Gamora, Doctor Strange, The Collector is in it, Benicio del Toro's there. Dave Bautista as Drax the Destroyer, Groot is there, Paul Rudd's in as Ant-Man. We got Maria Hill, Colby Smulders from S.H.I.E.L.D., Maria Hill's in it, Hawkeye's in it, Rocket Raccoon, Vision, Happy Hogan, Jon Favreau's there, of course he is. Gwyneth Paltrow's Pepper Potts. We got the Incredible Hulk. Benedict Wong playing Wong from Doctor Strange. We got Falcon is there with Anthony Mackie. We've got, let's see, who else we got? War Machine is there. Of course, Don Cheadle's there as War Machine. I mean, that is a huge freaking list. That's a lot of characters, man. That's a lot of characters. Now, I'm always the guy saying, hey, look, every movie has lots of characters. Just some movies you recognize the characters' names. This is a crowded movie. I mean, it's awesome because it's bringing everybody together. Yes, 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 yes. But it's also a hell of a lot of characters. And I am a little bit nervous about this movie maybe feeling a little convoluted. I'm not saying it's going to. Don't put words in my mouth. I'm not saying it's going to. But if I'm going to be honest, I am a little bit nervous about that. About these big characters getting 10 minutes of screen time. Like, is Captain America going to get like 10 minutes of screen time? It's the Avengers. He's Captain America. You can't have 10 minutes of screen time. Like, it's, or will it feel too jarbled? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. And especially coming off such a good movie as Black Panther. And I don't know, man. I'm excited. My hopes are high, but I got to admit, I'm a little bit nervous. Here's my fingers staying crossed. Michael Ippolito writes, with all the comic book shows on network and streaming, do you think we are being oversaturated with superheroes? Thanks for telling it like it is. Well, let's put it this way. The latest comic book movie just came out, and it's going to cross $1 billion at the box office in the next day or two. Maybe in the next 2 or 3 days. It just became only the 5th or 6th film in history to cross $200 million on opening weekend. So if there is any such thing as oversaturation, superhero fatigue, if any of that is real, it doesn't, I mean, the numbers don't say it. We just had a Black Panther movie, for heaven's sakes, and it's crushing at the box office. We had Thor, did monster business. Spider-Man Homecoming did monster business. Guardians of the Galaxy did monster business. Wonder Woman did monster business. Justice League, well, we won't talk about that. But I mean, if there is any kind of oversaturation or comic book movie fatigue or anything like that, it's certainly not showing at this point. So now look, here's the thing. I've always said this. There have been like times when 30 different cop shows were on TV at once. Did anybody talk about cop show fatigue? I can think of like 18 different hospital medical shows that have been on in the last number of years. Did anybody talk about doctor show fatigue? As long as you're putting out good stuff, it doesn't matter what genre stuff you're putting out, as long as you're putting out good, entertaining stories and movies and television shows. As long as they're good, people are going to keep eating it up. There will come a time when it's going to get crappy. It's just life. That's the circle of life, man. It'll happen, and then it'll die off for a while, and then it'll come back. It's happened before, it'll happen again. But as of right now, I see no indication of any kind of oversaturation or fatigue at this point. We'll see what happens in the near future, though. Good question, Michael. All right, Gio writes, just saw Mudbound, powerful storytelling and editing, a wonderful movie. Wonderful movie. I'm really happy for it. Anthony R. writes, prayers and good health for Stan Lee. Wait a minute. Sorry. Little comments like that make me nervous. I know he was in the hospital recently. What's going on? I'm not, okay. Sorry. You just made me worried there that maybe he died or something like that, or that he was hospitalized again. Okay. I'm not finding anything like that. Don't scare me, Anthony. Don't scare me. Eric the Red 06 writes, after MoviePass / Red Sparrow debacle, I decided to cancel my membership and signed up with Cinemia. Good for you. They lost my trust, screwing its members over with this BS. Yeah, so I was talking about that the other day for those who missed it. You know, I find MoviePass, I use the card, but I do find them to be pretty shady. And this whole thing where they, without warning, they didn't let their users use their card to go and see Red Sparrow in a bunch of markets. Because the other movie, Death Wish, which is horrible, by the way, Death Wish paid MoviePass for promotional consideration. I don't have any problem with paying for promotional consideration, but when part of your promotional consideration is don't let our customers go and watch that other movie that's opening up against it, that's shady. You're shady. So yeah, so hey, good on you for canceling your membership. I think you're really going to enjoy Cinemia. My hope here is that I hope more theater chains like Cinemark start their own subscription service, because the Cinemark one looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. And I know that you guys in the UK are constantly telling me about your cinema world, whatever it is, that you have a great deal over there that you can use. I hope something like that catches on with the theaters here so that at some point services like Movie Pass won't be necessary. They'll be obsolete. So that's my hope. All right, next one. Tanzir13 writes, thank you and Anne for inviting us into your home. Oh, and thank you, man. Yeah, so last night, Anne and I did a live stream. More me than Anne. She stayed off camera most of it. But we just watched the Oscars and just turned on the webcam and had you guys watch it with us. You know what? I had more fun than I thought I would. I had a really good time doing that last night. So thank you guys for letting me watch it with you. And thank you for coming in and watching with us. And maybe we can do it again sometime. I mean, it was actually really fun, and I wasn't expecting it to be fun. I just thought, okay, well, we'll try this. I don't think it'll work, but we'll try it. And then we tried it, and it was really fun. So, yeah, thank you guys for all you guys who joined us last night. That was a good time. Prince JP 4321 writes, but John, my list of films are objective. Well, I mean, everybody's list of films are objective to themselves. But no, I'm catching your joke, Prince. Thanks for sending that in. Anthony R. writes, Godmother is going through a bad divorce after a 15-year marriage. Oh, that's horrible. I showed her Winter Soldier and Thor. Since she never saw them, she loved them. Isn't that... Thank you for sharing that, Anthony. Isn't that one of the great things about movies? That, look, movies will not make your life better, but one of the things, movies have a power that so few things do, that they offer an oasis. Who was it that was saying that the other night? Were they quoting Katharine Hepburn who said that? But movies offer an oasis. And it's funny that when we can just take a momentary break from the crappy stuff that's going on in our life, not only are we getting a break, but it helps us kind of recenter our heads. And maybe we can approach, when we go back into the crap, that we can approach it with a fresh perspective and feeling rested and maybe deal. And it's just one of the great things about movies and about the movie fan community. We have that power to be that for each other as well, with some good, fun movie discussion and things like that. It's just one of the reasons why I love being a part of the movie fan community. I love it so much that... You know, I made it my career to do it. So, hey, Anthony, thank you for sharing that. That's awesome to hear. And thoughts and prayers out to your godmother, of course. Andres writes, best actress without an Oscar, Glenn Close. Ooh, best actress without an Oscar. Let's see. I'm trying to think of some really good ones. Like Blanchette's got one. Obviously, Streep's got one. Boy, best one. Well, you know, she's got two now, the one who won last night. I'd have to think about it. I mean, Saoirse Ronan now has 3 nominations at such a young age. She could be somebody we got to keep our eye on for a while. But, wow. Well, no, I was going to say Lupita Nyong'o, but she's got one. You know what? I'm going to have to think about it. That is a great question. Best actress that doesn't have an Oscar right now. That's a good one. I got to think about that one. Devontae Brown writes, Red Sparrow not blocked on Movie Pass for me in New Jersey. Yeah, it wasn't in every single market, and it wasn't all the time. Like, I talked to some people that it was blocked for them on opening night, but then it wasn't blocked the next day. So they seem to be playing a little bit fast and loose for it, but it certainly wasn't everywhere for everyone. I know I had friends directly communicating with me saying, yep, it wouldn't launch for me, and send me screenshots of it being blocked. So thankfully for you, it wasn't blocked, and that's a good thing. Shreyas writes, as husband and wife, I'm sure you and Anne have had your fair share of fights. Ironically not, but I'll get into that another time. Is there a particular one where you look back and just laugh it off and laugh at yourself? P.S. You are awesome-tacular. You know, it's really funny. I'd say Anne and I maybe have like one real fight a year, maybe. And I think it really comes from, we are so like grammar Nazi about communicating, like, and it took us a little while when we were dating to get to that point, but it's like, never don't tell me what you're thinking. Never don't tell me what you're feeling. Never rely on me to guess what you're thinking. Never rely on me to guess how you're feeling. I will always be completely open with you, so you know where I'm at. You need to always be open with me, and we communicate. I mean, if something starts to frustrate one of us, we tell each other right away, and then we deal with it. And I think it's just a matter of communication. A big fight that we had that we look back on and laugh about. I don't know, man. I think we've had like 7 really good fights because we've been together over 8 years now. We've had like maybe 7 good fights. I don't think I'd laugh about any of them. But yeah, the thing for us is just communication. We just communicate a lot. Anthony R. Oops. And by the way, thanks so much for the email, man, for the message. Anthony R. writes, John, which Warner Brother executive pissed off a gypsy because they can't seem to lift the curse? Man, I don't know, but hey, look, what I keep trying to tell people too is like, if you look past the DCEU stuff, and the DCEU stuff is just one part of the Warner Brothers empire. Warner Brothers is a smart, shrewd, creative, really good studio. I'm a big fan of a lot of Warner Brothers films, man. Big fan. But you're right. They have stumbled a bit, and they struggle to seem to find their footing on what to do with the DCEU. I just keep having faith that at some point they will find their North Star and they will find their footing and they will head in that direction. I love the way you put that. Which executive pissed off a gypsy? I like that. Franks and Beans writes, hey, John, always have appreciate your work since the AMC days. Any truth to the Dexter show being reprised for season 9? Bring on the dirty, filthy rat crap. I've heard that whisper. It's funny because we haven't seen a lot of Michael C. Hall in stuff lately, and all of a sudden he popped up in The Crown because he played JFK in The Crown, and then he popped up in Game Night. And it's great seeing him on screen. I'm a big fan of his. I would love it if they came back with Dexter because I love the character, and unfortunately that last season of Dexter left a bad taste in people's mouths. It just left a bad taste in people's mouths. I would love it if they did a season 9. Absolutely love it. You can use the old Godfather 3. I tried to get out and then I was pulled back in. You could pull one of those whole things with Dexter. I think that would be great. I would love it if they did it. I know there's a lot of fans that would love it if they did it. I know Showtime would love it if they did it because Showtime's looking for some hits. They haven't had a hit like Dexter since Dexter. Ray Donovan's really good. I like Ray Donovan. But I don't know. The bottom line is I don't know. Now, I happen to know somebody who's friends with him. Maybe I should reach out to them and simply ask. Because those buddies of mine, Mark Neveldine, Brian Taylor, they directed a film with Michael before. Gamer. Remember, Gamer was the villain, or Michael was the villain in Gamer. So maybe I should reach out to them and say, hey, do you know if anything's true? They probably wouldn't tell me even if they knew. So I don't know, but that would be cool. I would be all for it. I would totally be down for that. Let's see. Super Babo Mario just says in his super chat. Thank you, Super Babo Mario. Adam Griffin writes, best performance, Gibson in Braveheart or Crow in Gladiator? Oh, Gibson was so good in Braveheart. But I'm going to go with Russell Crowe. I'm going to go with Russell Crowe on that. Russell Crowe in Gladiator was just so good. There was such a quiet power with Maximus in that movie. Gladiator is so good. People forget how good Gladiator is. And it's the movie that put Joaquin Phoenix on the map. So that's a Sophie's choice because Gibson is so bloody good in Braveheart, but I will go Russell Crowe in Gladiator. But I'm sure you guys can debate that amongst yourselves as well. Haskell writes, Ho, John, good evening. I just retweeted you a tweet at 322 via Fandango. I think you meant Fandango. That has Yondu as Mary Poppins. Oh my God, if you can post, it'd be great. I haven't seen it, but I will check that out. Look, I was heartbroken when they killed Yondu. I love the Yondu character. But we can't complain that Marvel never really kills off their characters and then complain when they do kill their characters. So it's really unfortunate, but it seems like he has been having a blast with this Yondu character. Did you guys see, by the way, look this up online. of the deleted scene, the unused scene from Thor Ragnarok with Yondu on, like, he was there in full Yondu makeup and everything on Asgard. Remember the scene where Hela is like going to have her guy execute the woman? He says, somebody tell us who took the sword. And says, fine, kill the woman. They were going to kill the woman. In that scene, they filmed this little thing actually on set with Yondu there going, hey, anybody know where Kevin's office is? Referencing Kevin Feige and Louis. Kevin and Louis' offices? Kevin Feige and Louis D'Esposito, who's, of course, the producers on the Marvel films. And then he walks off. Obviously, it was never really going to be used in the movie, but look it up online. I think you'll get a chuckle out of it. It's pretty fun. Let's see. Super Babu Mario writes, okay, now I see how Super Chat works. Oh, so I was an accident before. Have a great week, John Campea. Thank you so much. I'm already having a good week. It's been a good one already. Vinny Sultan writes, recently came across your videos. Big fan. Thank you so much, Vinny. Of the 3 movies Taylor Sheridan has written, Wind River, Sicario, and Hell or High Water, which is your favorite? Oh, I like Sicario very much, but it comes down to Wind River and Hell or High Water. Damn. Oh, damn. These are 2. Actually, Sheridan also directed Hell or High Water. He also directed Wind River. I believe, yeah, pretty sure he directed Wind River too. I think by the narrowest of margins, I'll go Hell or High Water. There's something really, this is an overused word, but I really think it applies here. There's this epic feeling about, you feel like an epic story is being told with Hell or High Water in a small, gritty Western kind of way. Wind River is brilliant. I loved that movie. I was a little bit sad it didn't get more Oscar love, but it didn't. So there you have it. But just by the hair of my chinny chin, I will go Hell or High Water. But those are both fabulous. And obviously there's Sicario, and Sicario is great too. Sharias writes, I apologize if my previous question was too personal. I didn't mean, nothing too personal. No disrespect. No, look, you have the right to ask whatever you want, as long as you give me the right to go, hey man, thanks for asking, but I'd rather not address it. As long as you give me the right to say, hey, is it cool if I not address that? Then you have every right to ask whatever you want. No need to apologize, man. You were totally respectful. Don't worry about it one little bit. KW Garrett writes, do you ever worry about reading bizarre super chats aloud and having it taken out of context? Example, Battlefield Earth was the Citizen Kane of our generation. Look, one of the things I have learned in this business is that there are trolls and there's nothing you can do about it. If there are people who are pathetic losers that the only thing that gets them hard is the idea of doing something stupid, then you can't stop that. Trolls are also very, very cheap. One of the good things about super chats is that trolls don't want to drop $1 to be a troll. They're notoriously cheap. And if they did, then whatever. Thanks for giving me your $1. If you want to waste your time doing that, fine, that's great. But so it's always in the back of my head that it can happen. It's accidentally happened with some spoilers. Like, there are some people very well-intentioned who didn't mean to spoil something, but have asked questions that are spoilers, and they end up here on the list and people can read them. And hey, that's an unfortunate thing, but that's going to happen in any type of an open interaction environment. And what's my option? Don't have open interaction with my viewers? That's no fun. Some people suggested not putting the actual list up there, but I think people get a kick out of seeing their name and their face and their avatar there on there. So I want to let people have that. I mean, I get a kick out of it when I see my face pop up on a show that I'm calling into or something like that. I get a kick out of that. So that's the only other option. So I just don't worry about it. If it happens, it happens. Whatever. I'll move on from it and be over it in about 10 seconds. So I don't really worry about it. Interesting. Good question, though. Good observation, KW. Anthony writes in again, by the way, I did not mean to offend anyone with that last comment. I got called out in the chat, and I apologize. By the way, Yondu for Mary Poppins, or we boycott. Was there anything offensive by what you said, Anthony? I don't remember. Maybe I'm not remembering it right, but I don't remember anything offensive in what you said. Okay, let's move on here. By the way, guys, I think I might be able to answer all the questions. So I'm going to ask, if you haven't sent in a super chat yet, please no more. We're going to cut it off at this point because I actually think I'm going to be able to answer all of them here. Let's see. Dr. Penders writes, Do you think they will make a biopic about the start of Marvel as a company following Stan Lee and Jack Kirby? It's possible. It depends on if there's a story there to tell, right? If there's an actual story there to tell that would make a good movie, wonderful. If it's just two guys got alone, worked hard, things grew, and it worked, then there's not a movie there per se, right? If there's a story in there somewhere, then you can do it. So maybe they'll do it. But I mean, it's going to be tough because other studios won't have the rights to do it. And would Marvel want to make their own film about Marvel? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I think if they announced they were doing something like that, I would at least be curious. I'd be lying if I didn't say I would at least be a little bit curious. You know what I'm saying? All right. Haskell420 writes, John, Homecoming 2 comes out next year and takes place only minutes after Infinity War sequel ends. Did they announce when shooting begins for Homecoming 2? Ooh, I don't recall them announcing when it starts. I mean, obviously it has to be this year sometime, but I'm not really clear. I don't recall. I don't think there was any definitive announcement saying that Homecoming 2 starts production on such and such date. I don't remember them saying that. So I'm going to say I don't think they've announced it yet. They know by now when they're going to start shooting. They just probably haven't made a release date or a production beginning date made public yet at this point. Ryan Irwin Deal is I'm always pronouncing that everything wrong. Just sends a super chat. Thank you so much, Ryan. Devontae Brown writes, Stanley put out a video since he's still recovering, thanking fans, and some said he sounds sad. That's probably what the other comment referenced. Okay, I didn't realize that. That's probably what he was talking about. Okay, thanks for the update on that, Devontae. Yeah, he probably is still recovering. And I didn't see the video saying that he sounds sad. That sounds bad. But I haven't seen it myself, so I'm not going to speculate. But thank you for the update on that, Devontae. I appreciate that. Cam Wood writes, I know you're a big fan of the New England Patriots. I am. Who would you cast in a movie about the team? I've been a big fan since the Man of Steel review. Keep up the great work. Well, you know what I'm going to say, Cam. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't, like, any good actor playing the role. Great. Any good actor playing any role. So I really wouldn't. Like, who would play Tom Brady? I don't know. Maybe Mark Wahlberg. Because Mark Wahlberg's a big Tom Brady fan, but you need somebody younger than Mark Wahlberg. So I don't know. I'm not big on the whole casting game. I'm not big on playing that. But I would love a New England Patriots thing, especially about the run of Tom Brady, man. He has taken his team to 8 Super Bowls. 8 Super Bowls. In the modern NFL era, that's unheard of. That is crazy and probably will never be touched again. You know, a lot of people think Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest players in the world. How many Super Bowls has Aaron Rodgers taken his team to? I think 1? 1? He ain't going to take his team to 8. It's just absolutely crazy. So yeah, I'd be down for a movie about that. But as far as the casting goes, I'll leave that up to other people. I don't like to speculate too much about the casting, but thank you, Cam, for making me fantasize about a New England Patriot movie. That would be awesome. Sebastian just sends in super chat. Thank you, Sebastian. Mr. Bob Bentino writes, it's hard to have a conversation with Twitter, super chat, or only 90 words. Would you consider a weekly raffle where someone wins 15 minutes to talk to you through Facebook, Facebook voice or video chat? I don't know. It doesn't look like it, but I am ridiculously busy. I don't know. I would have to think about that. If I could think up of a really good way to get charity put into that, somehow, some way to raise money for a charity, then maybe I would look at something like that. But otherwise, no, because look, then I can only do that with one person at a time, right? I have as of right now, something like 116,000 subscribers. So then how do I set up who gets to do it? And then everybody else gets mad that they don't get picked to do it and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. But again, if I can think of a way to do that incorporates charity, then maybe I'll consider that. So let me think on that for a little while. Interesting idea. Let me think about that. 2 questions left. Anthony R. writes, Do you think Star-Lord will even be impressed with Earth's advancements since he left in the 80s, considering he's been around advanced alien tech? Well, probably, just because he remembers the world a certain way. When he comes back, the world looks a lot different than it did when he was there. So I think he will be impressed. I mean, obviously he's lived with tech far more advanced than what he's coming back to, but what he's coming back to is far more advanced than what it was when he left. So yeah, I think he'll go, whoa, and he'll ask about Kevin Bacon, and he'll ask about where's Alyssa Milano and all that kind of stuff. There's that stuff as well. The whole notion, though, about, people being out of time has always been interesting to me, about guys being out of time and out of place, about, whether you're talking about a Crocodile Dundee, whether you're talking about something along the lines of, well, what did I say? So there's Crocodile Dundee. What are some other big fish out of water kind of stories? I can't think of any off the top of my head. But remember, when Star-Lord was last on Earth, when Star-Lord was there on Earth and doing his thing, which, by the way, this is just a good opportunity to bring up this. Speaking of Star-Lord, that's just one of my favorite, me and Chris Pratt. I love that picture. When Star-Lord was last on Earth, remember, he had these giant ass cassette tapes, okay? Like, we've come a long way since that. We had, these boom boxes. Cars were modeled a certain way and driven a certain way. The media was handled and done a certain way. Media looks way different than it does now. Today, it's a whole different ball of wax. It looks completely different. So what he left, as far as what the Earth looked like when he left, and remember, he named his spaceship the Milano. I just thought I'd bring this one up here, too. If Star-Lord comes back looking for Alyssa Milano, there she is, Chris. There's Alyssa Milano right now. Sorry, I just thought I'd throw that in there because it would be funny. But yeah, remember, it's nothing compared to what he's had at this point, but it's still something that is so different. The world, when Star-Lord comes back to Earth, it's going to feel alien to him. It's going to feel different to him. And he may not recognize the world for what it is. And I don't know if he's got any family. I don't know if he's got, relatives that are on Earth, but it's going to be interesting to see how they play that all out as far as the movie goes. Okay. Let's see. Somebody said earlier, what if somebody says Battlefield Earth is a Citizen Kane of our time? Carson Whaley writes in, Battlefield Earth is a Citizen Kane of our time. You knew some smart ass had to do that. Well played, Carson. Well played. Sebastian Lurda writes, Jessica Chastain, 2 Oscar noms, no wins. Yep. Jessica Chastain has a piece of my heart. I'm not willing to put her into like the best actress in the world without an Oscar category yet, but she's great. She is great. And Haskell, last question of the day. R.I.P. David Ogan Steers. Oh, yeah. Charles and Winchester III on MASH, and Mayor and Doc Hollywood. Yeah, he passed away. I remember I read that, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? MASH was a little before my time, but I used to watch reruns of it. It's one of the greatest comedies ever. The dude, and I remember him, he played a character on one episode, a guest spot episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. It's kind of like a Logan's Run. It was the episode where, like, once you turn 60, you voluntarily get put to death. Like, that's the culture that he lives in. Once you turn 60, you got to be put to death. And he played a character in that one. If it's the right guy I'm thinking of, I think it was. So, yeah. So anyway, all right. I already said that would be the last question, but I will take one more. Mission Impossible director for Green Lantern. What do you think? Whatever. I mean, you know me, guys. If a good director for Green Lantern, any good director for Green Lantern, and I'm on board. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. All right, guys, that will do it for me for today for this installment of Open Mic. This has been fun. Thank you so much for joining me. Listen, guys, don't forget, if you're not a Patreon supporter, head over to patreon.com/John Campea. Get the information about what it means to be a Patreon supporter, and maybe you'll want to be a Patreon supporter too. Don't forget, guys, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the thumbs up button, and if you're not following me on Twitter, why not? Just follow me on Twitter, simply @John Campea. That'll do it for me for now, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. My name's John Campea, and until tomorrow, bye-bye.